Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, let's get into the news this Thursday morning. And speaking of Arizona, which we did yesterday talking about Kari Lake, well, Katie Hobbs has welcomed Liz Cheney to the state to go out and campaign for. Of course, if you guys remember, Liz Cheney had told reporters that she would do everything she could to ensure that Kari Lake would not be the next governor of Arizona. That included going ahead and campaigning with Democrats. This should be no surprise to you guys. Knowing that Liz Cheney was asking Democrats to vote for her in Wyoming, where she was sending him out mailers to show them how to switch their party affiliation from Republican to Democrat, so they could vote in the Wyoming primary to ensure that she could win. Unfortunately, for Liz Cheney and fortunately for everyone else in the state of Wyoming, voters didn't fall for it. And they voted in Harried Hegman over Liz Cheney, and she will probably go on to win that election. And Wyoming now loser Liz Cheney is out there in Arizona, of course, rubbing elbows with the swamp, rubbing elbows with people who absolutely have no basis in reality, no morals, people who will sit there and continue to sacrifice children because this is what the Democratic platform is. It's either a making sure you terminate children or b you sterilize them. That is how they are working. Well, anyway, Katie Hobbs has invited Liz Cheney to come out and campaign for her. So let's dive into it. It says Democrat Arizona gubernatorial nominee Katie Hobbs welcomes Rhino Liz Cheney to Arizona. Cost Cheney, a sane Republican. See, the only sane Republicans that Democrats call that are Democrats themselves. Look at her saying they would do it mask on anyway. Katie Hobbs won't even agree to share a stage with Kari Lake in the debate. The Gateway Pundit reported that Katie Hobbs refused to debate Kari Lake despite Lake's effort offer to allow Hobbs to choose a time, date, moderators, and even the debate questions before taking the stage. Now she wants to share the stage with Liz Cheney. We also recently reported Cheney joined the far-left Texas Tribune for an interview. Cheney stressed that she would do everything she could to prevent Kari Lake from winning her election. The Gateway Pundit recently reported that Kari Lake responded to this challenge by saying that maybe the best gift I've ever received. Lake continued to people why only can't stand her. I'm pretty sure the people of Arizona don't like her. The astute researchers from the Kari Lake's war room discovered that Liz Cheney publicly sold out her lesbian sister to win her Senate race despite privately expressing her approval, according to the LA Times, but Candy House record of racism against a black staffer in the Arizona Senate. It makes sense that they team up, right? Quite a pair. Of course, Liz Cheney proclaims herself to be strong pro-life. On the other hand, Katie Hobbs voted against legislation requiring doctors to maintain the life of the baby who survives an abortion. Further, she voted against abortion limitations every chance she was given as a state legislator. Liz and Katie will have a lot to talk about. And of course, the fact that Liz Cheney would even support Katie Hobbs isn't saying she should just change your party registration. Now she should go ahead and become a Democrat. What's she waiting for at this point? She thinks the rest of the party is aligning with her, but she's wrong. The rest of the party is not aligning with people like Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, and the rest of the losers in the Republican Party, as they sit there and they wish, and they can have their warmongering time back instead of this new path forward that new Republicans are taking us, where we don't want to continue to engage in conflict overseas, send money to foreign adversaries, or even foreign aid at all. We're not needed, and continue to focus on the nation at hand instead of all these other things, because those things are very profitable to the people in charge, because they use those means in order to launder that money in order to come back into their own coffers. They're no dummies when it comes to money laundering. And now, what exactly were you expecting? Of course you guys don't know who I'm talking to, at least not yet. Well, I'm speaking to Billy Eichner. A lot of you guys might know him. Probably most of you don't know him. Billy Eichner is an LGBTQ+ comedian who seems to play a character, seems to have this shtick of overly flamboyant, frankly, aggressively annoying character who's very much in your face. And over the last however many years he slowly transitioned his comedy to become more and more political, especially during the Trump years. He spent most of his time bashing Trump, and so for the topic of this video, or at least the framing of this video, I don't know whether it's get woke, go broke, or the Trump curse, possibly a mix of both, actually definitely a mix of both. Billy Eichner is now having what seems to be a complete meltdown at the idea that stray people and conservatives didn't go watch his movie, Even though it seems as though he explicitly told them not to go watch his movie, and now he's claiming that people who didn't watch his movie must be, quote, homophobic weirdos. You cannot make this stuff up, folks. I mean, the Copian is unbelievable to be this aggressively divisive and to be antagonizing people and then to be whining and complaining when they don't go watch your movie has to be peak Hollywood, at least these days. Of course, everything in Hollywood is going woke and it's going broke. It's flopping at the box office. And this is probably one of the most legendary examples of the last couple of years. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. Let's take a look at Little Billy Eichner, his meltdown. Alright folks, I'm telling you guys you cannot make this stuff up. Take a look at this headline. And as we get into the details as we get further into the article, you'll see it gets much worse. Quote, straight people just didn't show up. Bros creator Billy Eichner blasts homophobic weirdos after his gay rom-com disappoints with just $4.8 million. Despite rave reviews and a $22 million budget, Bros writer and actor Billy Eichner took to Twitter on Sunday to reflect on the disappointing performance of his gay rom-com at the box office. Following its opening weekend, the 44-year-old actor-comedian issued a series of tweets about the film, which is the first LGBTQ romantic comedy given a large release by a major studio. Despite a $22 million production budget and rave reviews, the film took in just $4.8 million and landed fourth place at the US box office. Clearly the movie flopped. I mean, you don't invest $22 million in a project to lose 15, and I'm being a little bit generous there. They've already lost $17 million, but we'll call it 15 because maybe they'll sell $2 million more as the weeks go by. Clearly a flop, but the Copian is next level. Take a look at this. Last night I snuck in and sat in the back of a sold-out theater playing Bros in Los Angeles. The audience howled with laughter start to finish, burst into applause at the end, and some are wiping away tears as they walked out. It was truly magical. Really. I'm very proud of this movie. Now, first of all, I think you may be embellishing it just a little bit. The audience howling of laughter from start to finish, bursting into applause at the end, and wiping away tears as they walked out seems a little bit fictional, but anyways, we'll give it to you. Up to Billy Eichner as claiming that his movie is not just good, movie is magical, his movie is incredible. For the Copian continues as Billy Eichner writes, that's just the world that we live in. Unfortunately, even with glowing reviews, great Rotten Tomatoes scores and a cinema score, straight people, especially in certain parts of the country, just didn't show up for Bros. And that's disappointing, but it is what it is. Everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should go see Bros tonight. You will have a blast. And it is special and uniquely powerful to see this particular story on a big screen. Especially for queer folks who don't get this opportunity often. I love this movie so much. Go Bros. I mean, talk about copious them. Go watch my movie now. It's incredible. And if you don't, it must be a homophobic weirdo from a particular part of the country. I mean, wow. Just wow. It's an aggressively LGBTQ+ movie. And if you need any proof for that, this is the movie poster. That look, I don't care. You should have the right to make your movie, but I don't want to watch it. It just doesn't cater to my interests at all. The simple fact of a movie like this is that it's targeting a very specific audience that happens to be an extreme minority of the population, and the idea that people should be shamed into going to watch your movie, otherwise they'll be labeled as homophobic weirdos. This completely ridiculous look. The movie might be decent, I don't know. But I'm still not going to watch it because I'm not interested, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. And that's okay. That's fine. But here is where it gets spectacularly stupid, and the politics is involved. Co-writer and star Billy Eichner has expressed that he does not want conservatives, especially those that voted for the 45th President of the United States and their associates, to see the film. Even conservatives who identify as part of the LGBT+K community, as he views them as traitors. We talk about a business model. I'm going to make an extremely niche movie that targets a very small extreme minority of the population. Then I'm going to shame half of the country, even the people who are part of said community, and tell them not to go watch my movie, and then I'm gonna cry about it on Twitter and play the victim. You cannot make this stuff up. I'm gonna make this movie for me and my friends. Only then, when only him and his friends go watch the movie. He cries out. No. How could you go watch my movie, you homophobic weirdo bigots? Is that not what you wanted? You've crafted your career around this specific persona, targeting this specific identity group. You've alienated people who disagree with you, politically, People who are on the other side, you've called them every name in the book you've attacked. Their president even told them not to go watch your movie. And now you're complaining that your movie tanked in the box office? What did you expect? I mean, it's just a bad business model. There's a reason the whole get woke go broke thing exists, because people don't like content that discriminates. People don't like content that's politically charged or motivated, or even if the creator himself has extremely bigoted views. In fact, speaking of bigots, I think you Billy Eichner are the bigot. At the end of the day, when it comes to your intolerance towards people who voted for President Trump, it always goes back to that famous Michael Jordan quote back, I think it was in the 1980s, when he first started selling Jordan brand shoes in partnership with Nike. Have a social justice. Political activists of the time wanted him to condemn Republicans. And Michael Jordan simply responded by saying, Republicans buy shoes too. And it was an absolutely based statement. And it's totally true. If you target 50% of the country and say, I hate you, don't go watch my movie, then don't be surprised when people don't go watch your movie. And don't be surprised when people from the middle, or people even from the center left, then look at what you're saying and say, hey, man, that's not cool. I'm not going to support this either. And you certainly shouldn't be surprised that straight men don't want to go watch a romantic film involving a same-sex couple. It's just not something that people are comfortable with. And that doesn't make them homophobes. It's just not exactly their cup of tea. It's the whole live and let live mantra. You live the way you want to live. Just don't force it on other people. Acceptance is accepting something you can. Accept something as reality. It doesn't bother you. You move on with your life. That's acceptance. Force acceptance, as I like to call it, is something entirely different. Force glamorization, forced support and involvement. That's something entirely different. Feel like I'm lacking probably the perfect word to describe it. But you guys get what I mean. It's gone from acceptance to actively support me, my political beliefs, my activism, watch my movies, everything else, and then you add at the end, or else you're homophobic weirdo, and you're going to be shamed in public. The whole thing is just going too far. You can have your movie, but you don't get to attack people based on their identity, based on the fact that they're straight, or based on where they live in the country, and claim that there's somehow something wrong with them because they didn't support your movie by the tens of millions. That, my friends, is called hecka woke leftist entitlement. This is a get woke go broke meltdown of the ages. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and